Hello.
Welcome to Soul Search with Polly and Jane.
Welcome. So, we're on our own this week.
Got no friends?
We got no friends. We got no guests. Our guests were all busy. No, we had a guest, but unfortunately something happened. So you've just got us two this week, but it's better than nothing. So, well, we think it's better than nothing.
Well,
so, yeah.
Of course it is.
But we will have guests back, yes, because I know a lot of people have said they enjoyed the guests, and we have got a few guests that want to come on, and we're quite excited about our guests.
We've
coming
just
on.
added a couple to our little
resume. So, this week, Polly, what are we talking about?
We're going to be talking about manifesting, different ways of doing manifesting, things that we've tried and have worked, maybe things we've tried and haven't worked. But
Don't look at me because I don't think anything's worked in my life.
But yeah, we're going to start talking about manifesting. You know, we were talking about how January seems to really lag, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I am actually quite glad it's lagging a little bit because it gives me more time to make money after the lack of after Christmas. So obviously I'm self-employed, Jane's self-employed, so
I'm retired.
you're retired, self-employed.
Retired /
Still got your toe in it.
self-employed. Still got my toe, but I'm retired.
So
And I don't care.
yeah, so basically I'm going to kick this off, right? So I'm going to go back a few years, right?
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways of manifesting. I'm sure some of you guys can fill us in on the way you manifest as well. But I've found myself in a single situation, right? And I was quite happy with that for a bit. Then decided that I did want to start looking out there and seeing who was around and seeing if there was anyone compatible. So anyway, where I lived at the time, I'd sort of pretty much either knew everybody or knew of everybody. And there was a certain lack of appeal, even with people that I would have perhaps found attractive, didn't necessarily mean that I found their personality attractive. So I swore I would never go on online dating, swore I'd never do that, but I did. And at the same time, two of my friends also went on online dating.
Not me.
Wasn't you? I didn't know you then. So anyway, so then in my head, I decided to manifest the sort of person that I really want to be with. So even though I did make myself the profile, and I was quite specific on my profile, having said that, I can't remember for the life of me what I'd written on there. But yeah, so I decided to do a spell. So I did some reading and did a spell. And so it was a manifesting love spell. And in this spell, I changed it up a bit because I wanted to be really specific. So I'd written a list of things that I did want in a relationship. Like, for example, I had children, so they had to be accepting of my children. They had to be, let's say, an element of romance going on there. There had to be an attraction, of course. There had to be, you know, the fact that he was going to be a good partner, faithful partner, etc., etc. So I set up this spell and put all of these things in it. When I do spells, I like to make up a little rhyme because as a chant that, you know, within the spell, you've enhanced it by being specific. Used candles and what have you. For some reason, got really attracted to the colour red, even though I love red anyway.
Well, I love red.
But I
have a red unit.
So, yeah, I decided to go and buy red things. I bought red cushions. I was thinking about love. I bought, really weirdly, a red pepper mill and salt mill, whatever you call salt.
Yeah, salt and pepper shaker.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper, mills.
Mills.
And
so I don't know why I did that because I just did randomly. And anyway, from that, I put my spell out there, did my spell, and I'd obviously looked to see what sort of moon and I needed to do it with and what day it's the best to do it on, etc. Anyway, I attracted love. Now, I went on to Plenty of Fish. Don't know if it still exists. I know there's
Plenty of
Tinder
Sharks
and Bumble
now.
and
It's called Plenty of Sharks.
Plenty of Sharks. And I only actually met, even though I got nearly 200 people interested in me, I only actually met up with...
Oh, please. Don't blow your own trumpet there, Polly. I had a vision then of the tarot card with the Judgment, the original tarot card. Got the blowing the trumpet. I was just seeing her there blowing it herself.
But, you know, out of those nearly 200 people, I knew that looking through them that I wasn't going to be compatible with these big hairy men that had no shirts on because I just did not have that instant attraction. And, you know, they seem to want to take pictures of themselves with hardly anything on. I'm not talking about, you know, what pics. I'm talking about just like the top half and this big, what do you call it? What do you used to call them in the back in the day? Love rug.
A chest.
Love rug.
A hairy chest. I'll just call it a hairy chest. A rug.
And what have you. And I just knew I spoke to a few and they weren't particularly very enthralling. I was like bored, hoping that they didn't text again, you know. And there was this one person that just kept coming up, and he was talking, and he'd text me in the morning, he'd text me after work, he asked how I am. It wasn't creepy, it wasn't weird. 11 years later, I'm still with him.
Has he got a rug?
Well, no, he has got a bit of a love rug.
He's a good cook, though, so I would have kept him for that.
So the salt and pepper mill was really interesting. Why I got attracted to getting them. He's actually used to have in Spain, he's Spanish, he used to have his own restaurant, Tapas Cafe.
And when did he have red salt and pepper?
No, but his daughter was called Ruby.
Red, although seen as danger to most, in the spiritual world we see it as grounding and setting an intention.
Yeah.
So it is actually a
Root
very,
shot.
it's a root, but it's a power colour. It's not, to us, it's not negative. It's a power colour. So red would have been manifesting
passion in my
more.
head.
There is that as well. If you hear little tippy taps, it's not us. We're not tap dancing.
It's the dogs.
Holly's brought her dogs round because no one else wanted to be our guest.
They've come to play.
We thought we might put a mic on them.
So, yeah, that was one instance where I decided to manifest exactly what I wanted. And I'll just tell you another one quick before you talk.
I'm having a day off. Also, if anyone sees me looking down, it's actually, I'm trying to work out why I've worked that this live goes on my reel on Facebook. It doesn't go on my Facebook page. So people aren't always finding it. So I'm not being rude. She's not boring me. I'm actually trying to do the tech stuff. But yeah. So if anyone has seen it on a reel, try and share it for us onto the Facebook. So
that'd be marvellous. Thank you.
But it is on Facebook. It's on a reel. So it's actual live reel. We are filming live from Jane's Lounge.
So my number 2 manifestation was when me and my partner, who I manifested, I was living in a flat and he came to live with me, and we ended up with about thousands of animals and children, that we decided to buy a house. And so I first of all wrote a check of how much I needed to be able to do this, like borrow, etc. Manifested that with my blank check, but then wrote in it myself. And then manifested it, so because there was me and us and one other couple that wanted to buy the house that we got.
You house shared, then I can see swinging
we
coming
wanted
your
the
way.
House. And I put it out there for them to accept my offer and not theirs. And my offer was actually less than theirs, and they took it. So I manifested a house.
And with a lower offer, that is actually quite I can't say, unless it's going to sound terrible for a spiritual person, I can't say I've properly manifested. That said, Polly's just watched me put some money into my manifestation jar.
She doesn't do it, but she can.
I don't. Well, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't actually think about it. I don't consciously think about it. I have these little things that I do that are obviously subconscious. They have become a ritually daily sort of thing. So I'm not like thinking, oh, I could do. I mean, of course I could do with a lot of money. And if anyone is out there and they'd like to put a big pot of money into my bank, feel free. But I don't actually go, I need
as long
this.
as you don't need to do anything for it, you know.
Well, yeah, actually, not like that film. What was it? Indecent Proposal. No, that would never happen. You could offer me all the money in the world. I only do what I want to do. And anyone knows me knows I only do what I want to do. I don't do anything I'm told to do. But I have got a little glass jar, and I have had it probably for the best part of 8 years. I had a bigger jar, but someone smashed it, so we won't go into that. So I've got a glass jar, and it sits on my windowsill in the southeast, facing southeast, because that's a good abundance area. And I put, I've got little Chinese coins in it, because they're good for you, money coins. I've got the Ace of Pentacles tarot card in it, out of a pack that I don't like. I don't know if that's a bad manifestation. I don't particularly use. I don't use these cards, but it's the symbol of the Pentacles. Yeah, I've got pound coins in it, and I've got citrine crystal in it, and I've got, I can't remember what the other crystal is, but crystals.
Aventurine?
No, it's not aventurine. I can't think. I'm not going to go over and have a look. And I've actually put gold in it, proper gold, earrings that I don't use. Because gold is gold at the end of the day. So I have got that, and it's very discreet. No one sees it because I haven't noticed anyone's pinched out of it. And I every now and again have a little thank you, put it in there, and hope my day goes well. And I don't make big things, but I get a little. I might get an email, I might get a text, or I might get a little surprise where I have a little bit of money come in. It's not major, but it ticks me over. And as I said, I mean, we joke about it. I have sort of semi-retired, mainly because of my health. I got disabled, so it's easier, and it's become easier not to work full-time jobs. So I only do this kind of work on a part-time basis because that's what I do. Also, I'm a lot older, so I don't care. I need to put my pipe and slippers on by 5. But not pipe on. So yeah, so I tick over, and as long as I'm ticking over, I don't care. Maybe I should put more effort into my manifestation, and then I might tick over a bit better. But then maybe I don't care. Maybe that's the problem. But I think we were talking about this before we came on, because we did a workshop, didn't we? Well, 2 years ago, nearly in April, called Manifesting the Metaphysical. No wonder no one came. No, they did come.
No, they did, and they loved it.
And it was more about metaphysical as about a whole universal thing. And obviously, even in my holistic stuff, but it's a metaphysical. There's always a metaphysical to illness and stuff like that. But we did a whole day's workshop, didn't we, of different things that people could manifest with. Tarot cards, runes,
Spells, yeah.
I think I did flower therapy. Flower, yeah. How to read the tarot flower, which actually, although we both read tarot,
there was manifesting involved in it.
Yeah, there was, yeah, but I can't. So there was a whole day of different things manifested, and the group loved it, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I thought, then we're teaching this, and actually, I'm not even practicing it myself. Proper. I mean, I did go home and water my spell plant for quite some time. Did quite work though. But the plant grew. Lovely. I had basil in mine. And I have done vision boards, which is another thing we talked about. So I think it's not because I'm being ignorant. It's not because I'm not taking this on board. I think where I work in a lot of different things, even holistically, I'm not probably sometimes putting myself first.
And perhaps you should.
And I think this week, actually these last 3 months, I've realised how much I have spread myself quite thinly with family and stuff, that maybe it is time I manifest, because maybe even if it's not abundance in money, I needed abundance in health. I do, and so do my family.
And energy and other things.
Yeah.
I mean, abundance is abundance. It doesn't just mean how much money you've got in the bank.
No, it's about a happier, fulfilling lifestyle. It doesn't have to be about money. Money's energy at the end of the day. We've talked about this before.
And when I've done spells, if I want it to be specifically for money and finances, I'll make it specifically for money and finances. However, if I feel like health needs to go in with that equation, then I will, in my little spell rhyme, I will write that in.
So you're very big on spells, aren't you? You often do a little spell. Where I think, apart from the workshop we did, never done a spell. I'm not that kind of thing.
But a spell, a spell is basically an affirmation.
It is an affirmation. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's everyone's tuned in to what they want to do. So we have a little list in front of us because, we are forgetful. And we just talked about spells. We've talked a little bit about positive energy. So we'll go around that in a minute. And we talked a bit about manifestation. What about vision boards?
So I've got a vision board in my shed, which I did at, was it the retreat? I've still got it. And at the time, I'd been going through quite a stressful time, and there was lots of bits and bobs that I felt like could be improved on. I think with a vision board, if no one's done one before, they're actually really easy to do. Get a load of magazines. Excuse me, blowing my nose. I have got a cold.
I'll have one by the end of the week.
So it's basically, if you can get a load of magazines, maybe have an intention specifically for what it is that you're trying to attract, and then go through the magazines. It's quite a nice, relaxing thing to do anyway.
I've done a vision board, so I'm not a total. I have done a vision board. I've done two actually over the years.
Things out that are relevant to your vision, to your manifestation. And when I did it, I did like a main thing in the middle, and then the other things around it that was going to attract the middle bit. Does that make sense?
Did you do it with someone teaching like a workshop?
Totally.
So that's what I've done it with somebody. But let's be fair, we could teach that, couldn't we?
But you could do it. But you could
do it yourself. Definitely do it yourself.
But having the right intention for it. And I think it's actually really nice if you had a few of you doing it, because then you can, it's not only is it a relaxing, nice thing to do.
As long as you've got enough magazines and cutouts, because you can get a little bit hairy across the table if someone wanted that magazine, you grab. Yeah. But you're right, you do start in the middle. But how many people out there who are probably think vision boards, spirit spells and all that, think, God, there's them two mad psychic women again on TV. But actually, vision boards are used in so many other ways, aren't they? If you went into a new house, some people do a vision board of how they want the house, the colours and the matching, the materials matching with the paint and all that. Interior designers would use a vision board to show how that's going to change. If you, like we said, you wanted to move, you had an idea of a house where you wanted to live, even the area, people do that, not because they're spiritual, and they probably would listen to this now and go, oh, didn't realise, because you are manifesting something, you are putting a positive energy out there, and I think people do it more than they realise, and don't connect it to the spiritual sort of way of life that we have. But manifesting, it's for everybody, it's for everyone to put a more positive vibe out there for something positive to happen, not negative.
Thinking about it as well, because I mean, you can be very specific within like a spell or a vision board and things like that. But sometimes you've got to realise there's an element of fate, and there's an element of this, an element of that. For example, if you decided that you want this particular house, but
well, not this one because it's mine. You can't come here.
But a particular house or home, or a particular area, and then you went for it, and then somebody else bought it before you. You're just not destined to have that house. However, carry on manifesting, because you could get one next door. You could get one in the same road. It could be very similar. It could even be that there's something better out there, but still not giving up on it. Keeping the visualization of the fact that you're going to get what you want and what you need. So it's not always that you're going to get that particular thing. However, if you continue the manifesting, it's going to attract the right thing for you.
So if someone's watching this now thinking they want, there's a specific thing they want, and it is probably feeling out of their reach, or say it's like 1 million, 2 million, whatever mansion, do you think people could be overthinking what they want or pushing, and they're not, how can I put this? Not saying they can't have it, but could there be people that want something that's way out of their reach, or is, I suppose that's what I'm saying, or is nothing out of our reach?
See, I know we've got friends who would say nothing's out of our reach, we can manifest anything. However, I disagree a bit, because, or there could be ways and means of doing something, but you might have to rethink location. Because, for example, my ideal, my dream, and I've probably said this before, would be to have a nice house, an old house, quite a nice old house. Like character.
I'd like a cottage.
Fireplaces, etc., etc.
In the middle of nowhere.
Rural. I'd like land, but the land that I'd want is to rescue animals, and I'd end up with bloody pygmy goats and dogs and cats, and I'd have all sorts walking around. Donkey, you know what I mean? I'd be there for that. And I'd love that. However, in England, unless I won the lottery, unless somebody's going to leave me an intense amount of money, I very unlikely will be able to get exactly what I want here or in this part of the country. There's other parts of the country where you could probably get a bigger property.
Oh, yeah, but because we're in the south. So anyone watching that's not a favour with where we live in England, we are in the south of England, so that's the more expensive place to live in England.
So if you moved to
if you went further up country, it's
right up north,
the houses are cheaper.
Wales, or
and you could probably pick up a derelict building, or what they used to call there was barns and properties that would go into probate and no one would own them, and then you can go and literally scoop in and get them cheap with land. No, we're near the sea. We're in a very built up city. We have got countrysides all on, a stone's throw away though. You can get to the country in no time. But you're talking countrysides getting destroyed and built up as well.
But if I decided to be selfish, right, or me and my partner decide to be selfish and move to a remote place in Brittany, in France, I could get exactly what I wanted for the same money as what my house is worth.
But you say being selfish, why can't you?
Well, I could, but I don't want to leave my grandchildren.
So are you being selfish, or are you actually thinking of yourself because you don't want to leave your grandchildren?
Yes.
The house isn't as important as your grandchildren.
So my grandkids, while they're this age, and my kids, obviously, are really important. I'm not ready to really then obviously sacrifice something to get what I want. Does that make sense? So because I want two things.
So the time is not right, and that's where we go back to: can someone have something that's out of their reach? And there for you, you have a visual of what you want, but it's out of your reach because you've also put a block in front of it. We should have got the tarot cards out. I've got the chariot in front of you now. I'm doing a cards. I ain't even got the cards in front of me.
So because, like I said, I'd love to go. I mean, my daughter has mentioned she'd like to move to Spain. My partner is Spanish, and that would probably work. You know what I mean? But then, you know, you're leaving other elements and friends, etc., etc. So I guess it depends on how much you want something. My ideal would be for someone to leave me a hell of a lot of money so that I could.
But then, are we not conditioned to a degree? I know we'd like to all think us light people up, but we are still a bit conditioned in the way we operate day to day in this country and probably other countries, but definitely our country at the moment, where we always think that things are out of our reach, or we always look at that, you know, like you said, with the money or the things that are stopping us, because there are people that just sell everything, disappear, and no one, they're off grid. I love that word, off grid. Don't you just love it? Off grid. No one's paid. I'll probably get shut off Facebook saying this, but people aren't paying their taxes, as in council taxes and things like that. They are literally off grid, foraging in the woods, got their own little,
living in a van,
got their little tanker, you know. And actually, I've seen people living in vans, young people now. I watched a program on it. Well, no, they've been doing it so the rent's cheap, so that they're saving, and then they're building their dream homes off grid. It's quite fascinating, that. And I think, oh, these young people are getting a bit more savvy. Are we of an age where, despite how much we work with a more free spirit, we are still conditioned to this way of life that we've been brought into?
Yeah, it doesn't help though, does it, that there's so many, like, there's so much bureaucracy that it wouldn't, you can't just buy a bit of land and go and live in the middle of it.
They'd want all the taxes off it, and then you can have land. I've got friends that have got land. I know I have some very nice, I'm not allowed to say the word gypsy no more, but I have some very nice travelling families, and they've always lived on their own land, and they have bought land later in life to build on, and building gets stopped because whether you own the land or not, regulations stop you. So that's what I'm saying. We're so conditioned in this world. Even people that have been brought up in a much more free way of life are still being shut down by the bureaucracy and the government. So it is almost like going totally off grid, isn't it? Like just disappear. No one knows where you are. So, and where in this country is there any land that no one would know where would not be wanting some form of tax off you, or charging you for the gas and the electric that actually comes from the earth? And I'm not sure why we all pay that anyway.
Well,
the water,
I guess somebody has to go and get it.
Well, they might do, but I don't think the prices the senior people are charging us, and then sitting there with their little bones.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's literally when I've got a Stone Age man walking in front of me now. It's just it's like that's the only time things where you literally went out and took what you wanted. And mind you, I think this country might get like that in a minute. You would just, people took what they wanted, and you had their land. When I was out in India, we were looking at so many derelict houses where one side might look lived in with sheets of material hanging down, and then when you went round it, the other side looked like someone had bombed it because it was all crumbled or misted. They live like that. That's how they live. And I remember saying to our tour guide, wow, like that. And they went, well, what they do, because there's so many Indians, I mean, it's a massive country, but there were so many Indians, especially in Delhi, out on the street under trees or tents built out, and they had their clothes lying out. And I mean, the traffic's unreal, so they weren't getting clean anytime soon. And obviously, me and my friend were fascinated because, you know, we'd gone to that country to experience it, so we wanted to know. And basically, when they're out on the street, and there's a fair few, as soon as they see an empty building like that, they go and take it and start putting things in it because they can. And I said, but what about people that owned it? And he went, well, basically it started crumbling, and if they can't repair it, they just leave it and go if they earn money in other countries, because they tend to go to places like Dubai and that to earn money and send back to family, they then go and build a better house somewhere else and leave the crumbling one by the wayside, and then a more poor family goes in it. And I found it quite fascinating. One, I thought, what a great way to recycle houses. But there was no ownership as such.
In England, if somebody decides where they're going to live, you're a squatter.
Well, you're a squatter. But that's what, basically, but then why, how many properties have we got in this country that sit derelict, sit empty? Or they're in probate because no one can find any family link. And so actually, do you know what? I think, why shouldn't you recycle it? And in the wartime, which is quite interesting, because I knew this from when my real biological nan was found living in Portsmouth for a short period while she had my mum. We found that she was renting a room in Fratton, in the Fratton area, and the house that she was in, I went to find from the records to see who owned it, to see if I can get some background information on her, because we were trying to track the family. And they told me in the records office that the man that actually rented the room to her and other rooms in quite a small flat-fronted terrace house actually didn't own the house either. But in the wartime, if your house got bombed in this city and you had to move, you moved in to whoever had a spare room or house next to you or so on and so on. And you would end up being all either together or with other people. And then as people passed on, you would take that house on. You never bought it. You never owned it in the first place. I'm not saying everyone did it, but houses that were bombed and people that were losing their homes, which happened a lot in wartime because we were a naval city, they had to be put up somewhere. And because obviously the community spirit then was much more, let's help you, love thy neighbour. I think we've all forgot that, haven't we? Love thy neighbour doesn't really count for much these days. But that's how they did it. So there was an element even back then where it didn't matter what you owned as long as you survived and worked together as a community. So where has it gone? Where we've literally got to run everything past a government to do what
you can't do
to
anything.
do what you want. I mean, I know we've gone off subject a bit, but it's like the banking now. If you go to put any money in your bank, they want to know where you got it from.
Yeah, or if you
go to
money
take it out, they want to know why.
Yeah, because it's mine.
Well, it's my money. Yeah. When did I ever get questioned when I only ever had cash to go to the bank and put money in or take it out? If you went on holiday and someone had paid it on their credit card, somebody else would give you the cash and you go down, and this is the good old days when you used to have to go into the bank, there was no internet, and you'd go into the bank with your free lots of holiday money from your friends when you're like youngsters, and you'd go in and go, I want to pay that off my credit card, because your free friends or for whatever paid you in cash to pay for the holiday that you did on. I mean, even in then you went in travel agents and used cash, but now if I went and did that, we're going on holiday in April. If I went into my Barclays now and went, I want to pay all this off my Barclay card, because they go, why? Where did you get the money from? From my free friends that are coming on holiday with me. Why should I have to explain that?
Yeah.
So it's weird how our world's gone. And we slip that back and get back on subject with the vision. We have a vision of trying to visualize a better life, but have people reversed it? And their only vision is to keep seeing the negative in life.
I think
because that's still manifesting. You're still manifesting all that negativity.
And another one, actually, thinking about what you're putting out there. And Jane said, if you're putting out a positive attitude, you're going to win in some way, shape or form. If you're going to think positively, I didn't get that job. However, this new job came along and it's even better than I thought. And if I'd got that one, I wouldn't have had this opportunity. It's about seeing the best in a situation and being grateful, gratitude, etc., etc. Because the more grateful, the more positive you are, the more positive things will come into your life. And you find things like, and this is one that I might send people over the edge with, actually, Facebook posts. Now, how many people have seen on their Facebook posts, gutted with a crying face, or fuming with a fuming face, or what have you?
Or the fuming face with the swear word.
Yeah. And you get that. I mean, you get people with that jumping onto your message or inboxing you, hun. All this dire stuff. You are creating a big bubble and vacuum of bad intention or negative feelings. Anybody, now this is, like I said, this is one that's probably going to put people over the edge a bit. There's one thing I don't like. Some bits of this work, and I think some bits don't. Groups that are supposed to be sort of helping, I don't know, say there was a situation, you were in a situation, maybe somebody had passed away, or maybe you're an addict and you go on to a help group, like a group on Facebook or something that is there for your support. I don't always think they're useful. I think that there's groups that are useful for these sorts of things. But if you are going on there and everybody is putting their story can be negative and it can be deep and dark, sometimes your feelings around this, I don't think some of these help groups help. I think they just some can help and some really don't. And I've found people that have been dragged into these
I suppose what I can look at it, the help groups are there on the socials for people to see there's somebody else that might be in your situation or some that might be out, and you could link up and talk. So they're good for showing there's a group here, there's that. If it's only an online group and it's so public on Facebook, then that is hard. But I do think
a lot of
if it was an online group that every now and again they put a generic post out, like we do when we're advertising anything we're doing, or even our podcast, it goes out as a generic post. But if they do that, we have this group. I don't know. There's one in Portsmouth called Mankind or Mental Health. And they meet time to go and do something. And then people might say, oh, I'm feeling a bit low. And they go, come and join us all private. That initial, because if someone's a little bit shy or they are depressed or they are feeling they've got no one to talk to for whatever reason, what's going on, especially with grief, that affects people. They can initially just see that and then private message someone and say they need help. If it's a group like you're talking about where it's still open, I mean, this has gone out live, like I said, on my reel. It will go out on the Facebook afterwards to the public, so everyone can see that page. It will go out on YouTube properly, which is the obviously when it properly goes out for our subscribers. So everyone can see that. Even if they don't subscribe, they can still watch it. If it's something like that, and you're so if we had people commenting under our YouTube page, which we have now got, thank you very much. But if anyone commented anything unpleasant or negative, we would shut it down, nip it in the bud, because that's not what any of our podcasts are about. It's to talk about different subjects and help people. So I suppose these groups need to keep a private group so only members can see. What happens there, though, is because this world has turned nasty, especially with, we've had this before, online trolling, that private group expands and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And unfortunately, not everyone that joins a private group, just because they've ticked a few questions right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can lie about them. And then they're in there trolling people that are generally really upset. But we've gone into an online society. We were doing it pre-COVID, but COVID, I mean, COVID is the reason I went online. COVID's the reason I joined SPTV. COVID's the reason I started doing readings online. I was a very old-fashioned, to the point sort of thing. Oh, the lights went out there, Polly. We've got a little, we had a little flash there. So online is positive for lots of things, but it's been used so badly negatively. And yeah, these help groups, if they're not,
some of them are good.
Yeah, but some of them probably aren't regulated either. That's where I was going to go with that. There's probably groups run by very professional bodies, charities or professional people or people with very good experience. And there are some groups that are probably, oh, I fancy doing that, and then it's not being regulated and people will not be monitored. And that's where it's dangerous. Isn't that the same, though, in real life?
Oh, yeah.
Is it just as safe to walk into a group, a circle group? Would you still not get someone disrupting it? I think that does happen.
Oh, yeah.
We know that happens because we used to run a group where the noise from the other room that was run, they were having a nice little get together, weren't they, for people with problems. There was a couple of people that were definitely disruptive and would go in and out of the toilet, banging and smashing it around, disrupting our group in the room next to it. So the online's got bad, yes. But I think when you're positive, when you're manifesting positivity, you will know what not to go near and what not to touch, and you will be drawn to the right people, which does go back to with your vision boards and your manifestation. You sometimes may have a different path lined out for you. So as much as you're manifesting something, if it's not where you're meant to be, it's not going to happen. Like we said, we disagree with some of our friends that think you can manifest anything. But also, all the while you're positive and you're putting out a positive energy, you do get an element of positivity coming back. Now, I'm not going to say bad things still don't happen because we can't change what's meant to happen.
And we can't change somebody else's path.
Yeah.
Either.
And unfortunately, I know I've had clients come to me when they said, I did everything in my power to try and help my dad or my mum or my sister or something like that, and they still passed away. We can't stop that because unfortunately that is the law, that is evolution. And then our next one, it is law of attraction. We are born and we will die. We are human beings and that's happened. So that is sad because if you've got a really upbeat person and something like that happens in their life, they feel they've been let down. But that is the way the universe works.
It's the way of the world.
Yeah. So why don't we end on the law of, we haven't done this, the law of attraction. So anyone watching this, the law of attraction, I bet so many people hear that thrown out. You see posts out, done it, the law of attraction, this, that and the other. Why don't we, who's read The Secret? So The Secret, loads of people I used to know read this even before I was even doing this stuff. It was about people, it was all clips of different people, famous people, not so famous maybe, putting their input in. And then they made this book called The Secret. But when you read it, it's just clips. It's not a whole story. It's everyone's. And I remember reading that Jim Carrey, when he was poor, put a dollar bill. He's an actor in America, if anyone didn't know.
Oh, he wrote a check as well.
And and put it on his wall, ceiling, and he watched it every night. And it changed. And that's like a vision board, but it's actually the law of attraction. He personally did something like you did with yours to get that in. So your dogs have got such a lovely way about them, haven't they?
What then?
As they're
That side.
dropping there,
Nuts.
right under my